Hi guys and gals and kittens, and welcome to the I Need a Magic show. So in the previous video I created a registration API in 15 minutes. This video I'm going to create a login API endpoint. Why? Because obviously we now have the ability to register in our MyCool app. We obviously need the ability to authenticate towards the backend. So here I am in my Cloudlet. I go to HyperID. I expand modules, and here you can see MyCool app. That was the thing we created in the last video. As you can see here, we have register and we have verify the double opt-in logic. And it was like roughly almost 300 lines of code. Now I'm going to create a new HTTP endpoint. I'm going to call mine login.get.hl. And then after a few seconds, I can write the description: authenticates the user towards the cloudlet. Very cool app, right? Arguments, obviously, username, right? String and password. And that's really it. I mean, we could do reCAPTCHA on this guy if we wanted to, but it's not really much of a point because, I mean, there are no state changes really in the system as a consequence of invoking the API, because we're going to be using JWT tokens. So now, authenticate. Toolbox, authenticate, username, password. Okay, fine, return dash last action. And this isn't actually an action technically, this is an Hyperlambda snippet, but it basically returns the result of our last action. And that's it, we're done. So now if you remember from our, let's create the user, open in a different tab here. Let's create a new user, call it foo, and password, blah, 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 something, right? And then let's associate it with the guest role. Okay, let's create an email, John Doe. And email john@doe.com. So now we have a user, and in fact we can go to SQL Studio and we can choose SQL view here, and we can do select all from users, at which point you will see that the password is hashed using Blowfish, which is an extremely secure way of persisting passwords. So now let's open up manage, and let's open up endpoints in a different tab. Let's find my cool app. Let's find the login HTTP endpoint. Let's provide foo as username and password, which is on our clipboard. Click try that, and ta-da, here you can see we now have a JWT token. And if we now copy this token and we go to jwt.io, we paste in this particular token, you will actually see that the token encapsulates not only the username, but also the role of guests. So we now have a JWT token that returns a valid username and roles, implementing perfectly RBAC, or role-based access control. So at this point, we can use this JWT token in consecutive requests towards the backend and use the authorize slot to prevent anybody except guest users from actually accessing our backend API. But that's an exercise for later. For now, this particular YouTube video is finished. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.